Hari Bol and Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you. I hope all of you are doing great. Thinking about Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita, and making progress in your understanding of Krishna consciousness. What we did the last session, and I think we had a wonderful exposure to Krishna's statements in the few shlokas in the beginning. And I told you that these are such foundationally important shlokas, right? So how many of you remember something about it? How many of you remember something about it? Anybody? How many of you remember something about what we discussed last time? No? No response from any student.
It's 8:30.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
9th chapter is the most confidential knowledge.
Yes. Thank you. What else did we get exposed to in the 9th chapter?
Maharaj, it also says that Krishna is satisfied with Pushpam Patram Paniyam Vasa. That is what he wants. He doesn't want you to give him anything great.
Okay. Do you remember the shlokas that we did last time? That's going to be a little difficult if I have to do it again. We
First,
studied. Yes,
first
tell me.
second, and third, Maharaj.
Exactly. Thank you, Shibaji. Yes, we studied the first shloka wherein Krishna is telling, I am going to give you jnana vijnana sahitam pravakshayami anasuyave, because you are free from envy. We spoke a lot about envy. Remember how we can become envious of people in this world and how it is related to our ultimate envy of the Supreme Absolute Truth. It's a very important point to know. Because why is Krishna telling Arjuna, you are not envious, therefore I am speaking this to you. Okay? And since you're not envious, you can understand it. If you're envious, it's going to be very difficult to understand it. That's one point we said. Then we said, but jnana vijnana sahitam. Knowledge and the realization of it together Krishna is giving. But what did I tell you about our situation when we read Bhagavad Gita? We will just about be able to make it to some gyan. Vigyan means realized knowledge. When knowledge is put into practice, it becomes realized knowledge. When it's plain knowledge, it's called gyan, information, but useful information. Very important information. Okay? We have to put that to practice. We have to put that to practice, and then many things start happening to you. Many people are very excited about getting information about knowledge, but when it comes to practice of knowledge, it's very difficult for them. Everybody is happy to give a lecture, talk about the sky and about the stars and about the moon and everything together, but finally, in putting to practice, they'll have a lot of difficulties. So, what do you think, is the Bhagavad Gita a practical explanation of things in this world, or is it something just to be studied and an exam written about and not to be practiced because it's impractical? What do you think? Jnana vijnana sahitam. Krishna is telling, I'll give you. And what happened? Based on that, do you think it's practical or impractical? Do you think it's practical or impractical?
Practical.
Should
Why?
be practiced.
Yes. What do you think?
Practical, Guruji.
It is practical. Okay. How do you say that? How do you say that? Thank you. But how do you say that? Simple.
Teachers.
What happened to Arjuna after he heard? Did he practice it or not?
Yes.
Yes,
He
he
practiced
practiced.
Yes.
And did he have victory or not?
He
Yes.
had victory.
Yes, he had victory. Maybe there were some losses. His son was lost, his this was lost or something. But in the ultimate issue, materially he had victory and spiritually he had victory also. Okay? So if you read Mahabharata, you will know that this Bhagavad Gita is placed inside it. And you will see subsequent to the Bhagavad Gita being spoken, Arjuna became victorious, Pandavas ruled for many thousands of years, and in the end they went back to Godhead. Just like Krishna explained. Okay? So that is one proof of the fact that it is practical. In this day and age, there may be a little tweaking of the details that we have to do. But the principles are the same. So don't think that you will not be able to practice it. Yes, there is a way of doing it now in this day and age, which Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has shown us. If you practice it, you will also have the same success as Arjuna. There's no doubt about it. Because Krishna guarantees it in Bhagavad Gita. The only problem is people having faith in following it. That's what is lacking. People generally will have faith in what the social media is saying, some popular person is saying, and some so-and-so is saying, but they are not trained and educated and exposed to having faith in the words of Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita. But if you keep reading it, if you keep thinking about it, and if you keep practicing and associating with such persons, your faith will definitely grow. Your faith will definitely grow. And the same thing will happen to you as it happened to Arjuna. There's no doubt about that. Because Krishna says, Na samshayaha, asamshayaha. Do not doubt me. This will exactly take place as I'm saying. Do you see my screen?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, right. So we discussed something in the purport that Prabhupada says brilliantly. He explains what is the meaning of pure devotional service as Krishna is mentioned here in the 9th chapter. And we discussed about different classes of persons also that Krishna has mentioned. And then here are a few more highlights that I thought could be interesting for you. Would somebody like to read the first paragraph? Anup Sudevan, Anuttama Gopal Das, can you read the first paragraph?
Prakashascha karmani abhyasa.
Yes.
One is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service. Everything is revealed to him automatically and he can understand. This is called pratyaksha, directly perceived. Vedanta Sutra.
Right. So Prabhupada is quoting from Vedanta Sutra, and he's saying that this process that Krishna is explaining about devotional service, which he's saying in the first shloka, I will explain to you, to Arjuna. Then he starts by saying in the second shloka, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam. This is the king of knowledge, the king of secrets, and the topmost and everything. And that is devotional service. The king of knowledge, out of all the pieces of information that Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna calls this the most confidential knowledge or the king of knowledge. And that is performing bhakti yoga, devotional service to Krishna. And he says, if you simply do that, everything is revealed to him automatically and he can understand. That's why it's called king of knowledge. You don't have to separately study computer science and medicine and engineering and law. It's an amazing statement made. If you simply render service to Krishna, automatically all knowledge comes to you. Prabhupada said this when he was in America. He said, I'm able to speak to scientists, world leaders in a dialogue about things to do with humanity. I am not a great scientist. I did not study, but I am able to give them answers for their very deep questions from Bhagavad Gita because I am a devotee. I have faith in what Krishna has mentioned. And they also exchange interesting ideas. So you will see that when you study Bhagavad Gita very deeply, you will see everything is in the Bhagavad Gita. It's given in nice sutra format, but the more you read it, the more Krishna will expand it to you in terms of realizations, according to time, place, situation, circumstances. And you will see many devotees know both sides. They know matter side, they know the spiritual side. Because they apply it, like I said, put the knowledge into practice. So this is an amazing thing, that it all becomes revealed to you if you practice pure devotion. So think about this very deeply. That's why it's called most confidential knowledge. Okay. The next, who would like to read the next? Sujita, would you like to read the next paragraph?
Yes, Maharaj. Acharyavan Purusho Veda, one who is in association with great Acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all the knowledge necessary for realization, Vedic literature.
Yes. This Prabhupada is quoting from Vedic section. Again, he's saying here, next portion, if you take association of great Acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all knowledge necessary for realization. That's because of association with great personalities. By reading Prabhupada's commentary, you associate with him. And by reading his life, his teachings, and his conversations, and practicing his instructions, by gradually getting his association through his works, his instructions, you will see that although you're a person who did not technically study, you will become familiar with the knowledge necessary for your success in spiritual life. There's another amazing statement in the purport. I'm just picking it up. And Prabhupada proved this because many people in the Western world, in Europe, in America, in Australia, in Africa, all had the association of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. They have never in their life read anything to do with the Vedic literature. They have never heard the word Krishna. But all of them within a few months and years became amazingly galvanized into action in a completely different plane because of the association of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And they took it up very seriously. Even today, many of them are old, but they still practice that from morning to night. And they have never stopped doing it. This is proof of the fact that they were nobody and became somebody very important because of the association of a pure soul. Okay? So association is important. That's the next thing. And the third thing that's mentioned here, which I thought is important for you to know from the purport, the highest goal of all religion is devotional service. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adhokshaje. A very often quoted statement by many great personalities from the Bhagavat. What is the highest dharma? The Paro Dharma, highest goal of all religion that people practice is bhakti to the Supreme Lord Adhokshaja, Krishna. This is the statement being made here. And in this chapter, you will see Krishna is speaking about this only. That is what constitutes most confidential knowledge. Okay. Then I have picked up one more from the purport. Religion means many different things you do. Religion means you have material concerns. Religion and living in this world means it's not that you can simply be chanting Hare Krishna and doing Bhakti and sitting on a corner, some of you may be thinking, definitely I have got a lot of material commitments. But it's mentioned here, if you somehow the other satisfy the Supreme Lord by your service, all other people will become satisfied. All the demigods will become satisfied. Your ancestors, Pitris will become satisfied. Your parents will become satisfied. The society will become satisfied. Your friends and relatives will become satisfied. And you don't need to actually be indebted to anybody. Automatically, this very beautiful shloka from the Bhagavatam, Yata taror mula nishechanena tripyanti tatskanda bhujo pashakaha prano upaharacha yatindriyanam tathaiva sarvarhanam achyutejya. Hear carefully this translation. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves. Right? And by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities whom we are all indebted to. If you're born in this world, it's mentioned you're indebted to many people. One is your parents and your ancestors, Pitra. Then you're indebted to rishis and sages who are, for your sake, giving you a lot of information. Then you're indebted to the demigods because they are the ones who are maintaining this entire universe. They are giving you sunlight, they are giving you air, they are giving you water, rain, crops, they are giving you moonlight, they are giving you bhumi, is giving you treasures. All of them are demigods supplying and maintaining this whole cosmos. You become indebted to all of them. Then you're indebted to other citizens and everybody together. So there are a lot of indebtedness for living in this world. It is not that you can simply live, whizzle away. You have to pay rent. You have to pay electricity bill for the sun giving you sunshine. You have to do all these things. It's not free. So here it is mentioning, but if you utilize your life in serving the Supreme Lord, then everything is free for you. Because everybody becomes satisfied with you. Just like by pouring water at the root, the leaves, the twigs, the flower, the fruits, all of them get nourished. If you are a person serving the Supreme Lord, nobody will ask you anything much. You will automatically be satisfying everybody. It's a very powerful statement. That's why if you perform devotional service to Krishna, you don't remain indebted to anybody in this world. This is technically correct. So don't think sometimes that if I am doing devotional service, it is taking away my time. I am not able to do that service or this thing or that thing or anything. You must know that you are satisfying everybody and everything, including the demigods and all other living entities, by performing service, because it's like pouring water at the root. A very powerful example that Prabhupada states there. Then you can understand the importance of connecting up with the Supreme. It's not just an ordinary thing. You have to do it. And if you do it, you don't have to do many other things. So this is the highest goal of religion. Religion, by following, you should come to this point of serving the Supreme Lord only and not bothering about anything else. That is called the most confidential knowledge. Think about it. After explaining this introductory verses, then Krishna goes to tell Arjuna, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavastitah. Another wonderful shloka. He's telling to Arjuna in shloka 4, we discussed already about shloka 3, that okay, maybe somebody would like you to read that. Sandhya Natarajan, Dr. G, will you like to read that translation?
Yes, Maharaj. By me in my unmanifested form, This entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So look at this amazing statement. It beats physics and everything that you've learned. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. It's a different physics. It may come as a surprise to you, but this is what is theology. You know, you must understand philosophy and theology. Look at the rich theology of Bhagavad Gita gives you. It makes you completely understand who is God. What are his energies? How does he manifest himself? How is he present to you and in this world? And how you can access him. This is called theology. If you ask the Christian, I'm sorry to say that, if you ask the Muslim any description about God and how he is present, they'll not be able to give it to you like this. They'll not be able to give it to you. That's why in the Vedic literature, there's a wonderful understanding of who God is, how does he look, what does he do, what does he want me to do, what's my relationship with him, where is he, what's his address. Everything is given to you. That is theology. But if you ask the Christians, how does God look, they don't know. I'm not blaming the Christians. It's a good religion, definitely. Of course, many people don't follow what Jesus Christ actually said. But theology, explaining who God is, many things you will not be able to explain by reading only the Bible. You understand what I mean? It's definitely a holy book introducing God to you and everything, the teachings of Gospels and great saints and Jesus Christ, what he said, everything. But I'm saying the theology. Then philosophy. Philosophy means, who am I? I'm not this body. I'm spirit, soul. Attempts migrate from body to body. Every lifetime, I am born, I grow, I dwindle, I die, and my body only is dying, but I am forever, and I take repeatedly bodies. Karma operates on me. All this is philosophy. The philosophy of life, which all great people are trying to crack and open. Krishna is explaining that here. In the whole second chapter, third chapter, what is karma? What is action? Who is you? All that was covered. Okay? And now it is theology. Who is God? So you see how clearly these things are explained. Nobody can say that I don't know after reading Bhagavad Gita. Nobody can say I don't know God after reading Bhagavad Gita. Nobody can say I don't know who I am after reading Bhagavad Gita. So clearly explained. So here Krishna is explaining, you know how I am present in the material world? Nobody can see me, but I am still there. So Prabhupada explains very nicely that by unmanifested form means by my energy. Krishna and his energies. You and me are part of Krishna's energy. In the 13th chapter, Krishna will explain para prakriti and apara prakriti. Superior prakriti and inferior prakriti. The superior prakriti is the soul, and the inferior prakriti is matter and material energy. The superior prakriti is inside the inferior prakriti. And this thing bundled together is Krishna's energy, superior and inferior energy. And who is the controller of this? Krishna. In the last sloka, in the 10th sloka, you see, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Under my adhyaksha, under my eyes, this material energy is functioning. I am the controller of it. Is openly revealing these things. How my energy works, how my energies work. And how I don't have to do anything. You know, today everybody is talking about a lot about AI, and something has come out. There's a lot of people asking me questions about Lambda, the Google scientist who had a chat with this AI machine. And then he concluded this, my gosh, this machine is sentient. It knows what I'm saying and it's answering back to me. And he created a big furor saying that this is sentient. And then they gave him leave from Google and said, you're creating a lot of disturbance. Go home for 1 week. Take rest. And stop saying these things. What you're saying is not correct. This has become a huge thing in the internet. Wow, machines have become alive and conscious. It's slowly happening. And so there's a big discussion. So how can it be? How can it be? Right? If they read Bhagavad Gita, they will know a lot of things. But people are discussing very deeply, very interesting discussions, that how a machine can be made to think. I don't know if some of you are computer scientists or software engineers or IT people, you will learn about Alan Turing and his test, the Turing's test. You must be hearing sometimes about other types of things. So there's a lot of questions about this. Can machines think? Thinking is something very sacred that only a sentient, conscious human being like you and me can do. Maybe even animals can do, because they're also sentient, conscious beings. But a machine, can it think? Is a big question in physics and science. And now this scientist is saying, I think this thing is thinking and giving me very intelligent answers. So this has raised a lot of questions. But if you understand the theology, if you understand the philosophy, then using that, you will understand many things, how to answer these questions. And what is your deep understanding of life? So here is Krishna saying, my material energy is very powerful. Mama Maya Duratyaya. You see him later saying that. It's formidably very difficult to overcome it, which means that we are very tightly under the conditioning of material energy. Right? So Krishna is saying here, I am present everywhere here, but you not in a form, in my original form. You can't, unless you become Krishna conscious, you will not see me and my energy in this world. Prabhupada is giving the example of sun and sunshine. He's giving the example of the sun and the sunshine in the purport. He said the sun is somewhere millions of miles away maybe, but the sunshine is present right here. And I can feel the presence of the sun through the sunshine. Isn't it? Same way, if you're Krishna conscious, you can see Krishna's energy everywhere present. But since we are so much God unconscious or Krishna unconscious, we live inside the sunshine without recognizing the sun. Just imagine that you are here in the daytime and you don't recognize there's something called the sun from where this light is coming. Now, what's the sun? What do you mean? I don't know anything about it. And then you give instructions to me. You look very wonderful. Then you tell him you're able to see me because of sunlight. What? I don't have any sunlight. It'll be so stupid, right? If somebody tells you there is no sun, even though I'm able to see you, that's because of sunlight, not because of the sun. It's completely contradictory. So in this world, many people go wrong using the energy of the Lord, but don't acknowledge the Lord at all. They don't acknowledge the Lord at all because they don't know the science. So Krishna is saying here, Maya tatam idam sarvam. I am present everywhere. How? Jagat avyakta murtina. By my unmanifested form. Matstani sarva bhutani. All beings are situated in me. But nacha aham teshvavastita. But I am not situated in them. It's very interesting, right? Everything is in me, but I am not inside them. This is a new type of physics you have to understand. Then Krishna goes to say himself, Behold my mystic opulence, Pashyame Yogamaishwaryam. In this he says, Nachamatstani bhutani Pashyame Yogamaishwaryam Bhuta Brin Nacha Bhutasto Mamatma Bhuta Bhavana. Very beautiful expression. See what amazing information you're getting. Madhavi, can you read this translation, Madhavi?
It's 9 o'clock.
Madhavi and Tarun. Yeah, Madhavi, can you read that?
Hello. Hi, Maharaj. I have
Yeah.
Telugu version, not
you have
English.
a Telugu version, not an English version. I doubt here people will understand Telugu, Madhavi.
Yeah, sorry. I want to buy next time. I'll buy English version.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Right. Who else is ready? Priya?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, which text Maharaj?
This is 9.4. Have you got it, Priya?
Maharaj, can I read?
Who's that?
Vijayarajan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maya tadamit sarvam.
No, read the English translation.
No, I'm sorry. By me in my unmanifested form.
No, the next one, the next shloka.
Sorry. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation for myself and is the very source of creation.
Thank you, Vijayaji. So, Krishna himself is saying that you will find it mystical. Mystical means something which is not normal for me. Okay? So, Yogam Aishwaryam, Krishna is called Yogeshwara, the master of mystics. So, if Krishna wants to manifest something, it's not necessary that you should be able to reason out everything through your brains. There are things that happen which cannot fit into your brain and your understanding, because Krishna's powers are so wide and vast. Everything cannot be accommodated into your teeny-weeny intelligence and brain. So that's why Krishna is saying, Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam, because it's too big for you. So for you, it will be mystical. It will be like a magic, right? For the small kid, when the father lifts the table, it is a wonderful magic, because he can't even, push it 1 millimeter, because he's a very small guy and with small hands and legs, just budding. When he tries to push the table, nothing happens. But when he sees the father lifting the table, he's awed like that. How did he do that? Right? It's a mystic opulence for the child that my father has got, which I don't have. I can never do that. He knows that. I can never do that. But my father can do it. Why? Obviously, the father has far, far, far greater strength. Same way, by this crude example that I'm giving you, the fantastic energies of the Lord can never be understood so easily by the conditioned soul. That's why Krishna is saying, Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam. The physics that I explained to you is difficult for you to understand, but you can take that as my mystic opulence, because right now it's difficult for you to understand. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, Bhuta Brin, Nacha Bhutasta, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. Why? I am not under the control of this material energy. I am beyond it. How? I am the source of it. The source is coming and talking to you inside the material energy. So don't mistake me to be part of this. Okay. Inside the jail, when the collector comes or the minister comes to speak on Independence Day, on Republic Day with everybody, all the prisoners, it is not that he is also a prisoner because he's inside the jail. Simple logic. Because he's inside the jail, I found the minister inside the jail. I think he's also joined the prisoners. He's one of the criminals. Wrong. While he's sitting inside the jail also, he's free. He's not a jailer. He's not like you and me inside the jail. He comes, he goes with total freedom. But you cannot walk out like he. Along with him, you can also try to walk out. You cannot. They'll catch hold of you and throw you back inside. But he can walk out. He can come in anytime, he can walk out anytime. Why? He's not a prisoner. Similarly, Krishna is standing in front of Arjuna inside this material world, which is said, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. So somebody may think, what about you? So he is answering the question before you ask. Although you see me here inside the jail along with you, I am not under any laws. I am not a jailer. I am not a criminal. I am not in any way affected by these energies. Why? I am the maker of these energies. I am the one who has put you in jail, by the way. I am the one who put you in jail for reformation. But when I come to see you, don't think I am also a prisoner. Simple instruction. Everything that you see is operated under my energy and my powers. And sometimes by my kindness and mercy, I manifest myself like this, to be present in front of the conditioned souls. But you don't stretch your imagination and think, what about this guy? He must also be part of it. No, I'm not part of it. That's what Krishna is trying to tell you. Now again, I told you, this is the meaning of theology. How God should be understood. You can't understand God to be just another person like you and me. And neither can you say that I can also be God. Both these are wrong. If you know God the way he's explaining it, you will never say, I can also become God. And neither will you say, God is like one of me, one of us. Both these things are wrong. From these statements, you can understand. Okay? He's explaining. Krishna is explaining it to you. Like a small child is explaining. I am not like you. I am the source of everything. I happen to be standing near the chariot, holding the whip and the reins, and sitting on a lower seat than you. But excuse me, Arjuna, I'm not like you. I am the maker of this whole thing. With one lift of my little finger, everything can be destroyed. Everything can be finished. My powers are so huge and vast. Atava bahunaitena kimgyatena tavarjuna vrishtabhyaham idam krishnam ekamshena stito jagat. In 10th chapter, he'll say, what can I tell you about my power and my energies, Krishna? How you will understand it? It suffices for you to know by a spark of my splendor, I maintain this entire universe. By only a small spark, I maintain this entire place. Ekamshena stito jagat. By one amsha, this entire universe is maintained jagat. So we will read more about the opulence in the next chapter, in the 10th chapter. Because Arjuna will become fascinated by the Krishna's description of who he is. The supreme absolute truth, God, Bhagavan. Then he says, I want to see that, all that you described. How great are you? I want to see with my personal present situation. But that's another interesting thing. So watch carefully how Krishna is revealing himself. But before that, he's saying Bhakti is topmost. That's the most confidential thing I want to tell you. You can get me by simply becoming a lover. But after saying that, he's speaking about his glories. It's very interesting to know why Krishna is explaining. It is not a boast. He's not blowing his trumpet. He's answering the question of Arjuna. Because Arjuna has asked this question, King Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adi Devam Kim Proktam Adi Yagyam. Do you know, remember in the 8th chapter in the beginning, he asked all these questions? He's continuing to answer that. He's continuing to answer that. He answered most of it, now he's detailing it. You asked, what is Brahman? It's me. I am the Supreme Brahman. I am the source of Brahman. Brahmanohi pratishtaham. So this person standing and speaking Bhagavad Gita with the reins in his hands and with the whip in his other hand happens to be the Supreme Absolute Truth, the origin of everything. That's why he's using it. Nacha matstani bhutani. Mat means me. Krishna is addressing. Watch carefully and hear carefully. You'll get to know so many amazing things. So here is Prabhupada's quote. Sunita, can you read that on the screen?
The entire, can I read?
Yeah.
Okay. The entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two different energies, the superior spiritual energy and the inferior material energy. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy.
Yes. I explained this to you, superior Prakriti and inferior Prakriti, like that. So this analogy tells you everything is resting on that energy. Everything is resting on that energy. And that energy is coming from the Lord. And therefore the energy and the energetic are non-different. Because everything that's coming from the Lord is also spiritual. So there's no difference between Krishna and his energy. Prabhupada explained this by a very powerful example, which I think I've told you earlier. He said that I'm giving a lecture now and you're recording it. After I physically go away from here, you will play the recording. When you play the recording, you'll feel my presence. But the recording is capturing the sound energy, the vibrations of my voice. And by this contraption, you're able to replay it. But when you hear my sound, you will feel my presence. The sound energy makes you feel I am there. So he said, similarly, Krishna's energy for a pure devotee is Krishna himself. He can feel it. Just like when somebody stands in the sunshine, he can completely become conscious of the sun. So within the energy of the Lord, a learned, educated devotee can actually feel the presence of the Lord. Okay? So now you can imagine how far away we may be from that. I don't have knowledge about God, neither do I have knowledge about his energies. What to speak of becoming conscious of his energy and conscious of him? Okay? But once that happens to us, then we will be Krishna conscious, fully conscious of Krishna through his energy. Right? Just think about it a little bit. Then in 9.10, okay, before that, I would like to maybe go through, if you quickly go through text 6, it gives some examples. Krishna gives examples. Yata akasha stito nityam vayuhu sarvatra go mahan tata sarvani bhutani matstani ti upadharaya. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. So Krishna is the holder. So you can imagine how vast and huge the Lord is. When I showed you in 8th chapter about Brahma's lifetime, which was so huge and mind-boggling, we also discussed how one breath of that Mahavishnu is equal to one lifetime of Brahma. And in the same Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned that Saroma Kupam. Roma Kupam. Roma means hair. Kupam means hole. Roma Kupam means hair hole. From that hair hole of the Lord's body, universes bubble out, like bubbles coming out. They just bubble out of the hair holes of Mahavishnu's body. So you can imagine the diameter of each universe will be the diameter of the hair hole. Now can you imagine how huge he must be? Now you can understand everything rests on me. Literally means is actually resting on the Lord. Because he's very vastly huge and vastly energetic. And these energies that are being spoken about is not like some electrical energy, hydroelectric energy, nuclear energy that we study. Those are all nothing compared to what Krishna is speaking about here in terms of quantity and size. All right? Just think about it. Why Krishna is speaking like this? To show his greatness. But although he is so great, in this chapter is telling, you can easily capture me with devotion. That is the secret. That is the secret. That's why it's called most confidential knowledge. Such a person who I'm describing, Mahavishnu, from the Saroma Kupam, the universes are coming. He is only a manifestation of the manifestation of the Supreme Lord Bhagavan Krishna. Mahavishnu is an expansion of the expansion of Balaram. Okay, and he is so huge. But Krishna is telling, if you develop bhakti for me, you can capture me. That's the shortest cut. That's the shortest cut. And for bhakti, you just have to render service and develop love for me. Everything knowledge will come to you automatically. It is so superior. And a bhakta is so dear to me. I sell myself to him. I completely sell myself to him. So you can imagine all that great knowledge and all that wonderful expansion and everything. Krishna is saying, all that is my greatness is nothing compared to my exchange of bhakti with you. It's pure. So important is bhakti yoga. So important is our relationship with the Lord and how valuable it is explained here in this purports very nicely. So if you look into text 6, you'll see that. And text 7, Krishna goes further and says, Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpado visrajamyam. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So, creation is something that happens regularly. Destruction, creation, constantly going on. Constantly going on. So all of us enter into Krishna, Mahavishnu's body at the time of annihilation, and we are created again and come back in bodies and start enjoying matter. Then it goes again in like a balloon, inside, outside. It's a regular feature. It's going on. Inside the material creation, this is what is happening. Then if you go to the next shloka 8, Prakritim swamavashtabhya visrajami punah punah bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakriter vashat. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. Now, the relationship between God and material creation, you can hear from this. It's his energy, and then like you blow a balloon and then you let it off and then it finishes and then it blows again, then it finishes. It just manifests itself again and again. It's actually not at all something very important. But inside that energy, inside this material manifestation for us, wow, my money, my car, my this thing is very valuable, but this all gets destroyed. All these things get destroyed. And they come back again and they get destroyed. They come back again, they get destroyed. Bhutagramam punah punah, again and again it happens. It happens billions and trillions of times. Right? Nachaman, then in text 9, Nachamam tani karmani nibadnante dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. This is another amazing statement. Although I do this amazingly huge, mega stuff, I am not directly doing it. I don't have to directly do it. My energies do it. I just set them in motion. I am playing my flute and hanging around with my devotees. That is mentioned, Parashara Shaktir Vivedhaiva Shuyate Swabhavika Jnana Balakriyacha. That it says that Natat Karyam, what is it? For the Lord, there is no work to do. Right? There is no work to do. His energies, just according to his desire, they execute everything. He is Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham. He's such a great boss and proprietor that he just enjoys life. He blows the flute and he enjoys with his devotees. He is very sophisticated enjoyer. All these things which I'm talking to you about, creation, material energy, this, that, and all that, he's saying all those things, I'm not actually involved directly. I'm not directly involved. My energies and my parts and parcels and all of them do all that. I just have to think about it and it happens. Whatever I think about, immediately my energy is executed. Jnana balakriyacha. So that is mentioned that Krishna has nothing to do, actually. He need not do. This is one of the criterion for us to understand His Supreme Godhead. I have cited this before to you in a conversation of Prabhupada with a German professor who was doing research in India, visiting many temples and noting down many things. He came to meet Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, so what did you see? How many temples did you visit? So he gave a list. I saw a Kali temple. I saw her tongue hanging and 10 hands and she's killing one person. Oh, he said, yeah. What else did you see? He said, I saw another person on a peacock. Then he said, I saw another person with the elephant face. Vinayaka. Then he said, I saw another person. So he described many things. Then he described Vishnu. Then he described Krishna. Then he made a comment. But everybody was doing something. But there is one person who was blowing the flute. I think he has nothing to do. He must be the proprietor. This German professor said that. And Prabhupada immediately said, very intelligent observer you are. And then he quoted the shloka. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate parashaya shaktir vividhaiva shuyate. Natasya karyam. For him, there is no work to do. He's not burdened with any work or anything to do. Right? Parashaya shaktir vividhaiva shuyate. Vivid, different types of energies of God automatically do all that. It's nothing to worry about. Right? He blows the flute and enjoys. He's always relaxed. He's got all the time in the world. And he's waiting to relate with his devotees in love and bhakti. So Prabhupada said, you're a very intelligent observer. is easily concluded that Krishna must be the supreme Godhead by his own simple logic. He said everybody is busy doing something, but this one person has got nothing to do. He is blowing his flute. So he must be the main boss. Prabhupada said, definitely 100% you're correct. So, although Krishna is explaining all these things, he's also telling that don't worry, I'm not so busy with all these things. I'm telling you about my energies and how this material world is there and how it operates and all the systems and the mechanisms, because you're asking me about it. But this is nothing. My opulence is not only this, right? This is what he's explaining in 9.10. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. Satyendra Hiren Desai, can you please read that?
Yes, Maharaj. It is a text 10, is it?
Yeah, just read the text.
Yeah. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again.
Yes, thank you. It goes on automatically under the material energy. Creation, destruction, everything. And once in a while, I come inside and meet my devotees and go off. Into the factory of the material world I come, and I am not affected by anything. I am the source of all things. I come and I show my pastimes. I lift Govardhana hill. I dance with gopis. I go around with the cows and the gopas. I kill many demons and I set Pandavas on the throne. I do all these things and I go away. Go back to my home. I am not affected by any of these things. So that is the Lord's mercy that he comes within this tiny, dumpy material place to show himself to us so that we get attracted to him. So that's why he is considered to be very merciful, that he comes inside this place to show himself to us. That's what he is doing now, showing himself to Arjuna and giving instructions. Okay? So think about these things. These are very important statements that are being made here by Krishna. This is a very important shloka. Maya adhyakshena prakriti. Under my eyes, this prakriti is operating. Under my superintendence, it is operating and working. And moving and non-moving beings are produced by it. And there is a system in that, a rule. It is creating and destroying. It's automatically programmed to do all that. It doesn't require AI. It's Krishna's original intelligence. It's a real intelligence that's functioning because it's Krishna's. Okay? Automatically, the word is used previously also. For Krishna, automatically doesn't mean automation like we do here. Right? At least by automation, we can know that when something becomes automatic, we get very thrilled. Wow, I don't have to do it. It does it by itself. I was where was I? In Chennai, in Bangalore airport. And there was a robot moving around throughout the airport. And you can, use it, ask questions and all that. It gives you helps you or gives you answers or something. And people were very fascinated. Kids were very fascinated going behind it, and it's moving around here and there by itself. It's automated, and people are very happy to see that it does certain things that human beings do. So when we see something happening without our effort, we feel very thrilled. Wow, like that. So for Krishna, it's not a big thrill that these energies operate and do everything that he desires should be done. Right? And it's done by under his energies. So these are important shlokas that I thought I should go along with you and check out and try to understand. So I told you this 9th chapter is a key chapter. Krishna is revealing himself deeply. Then he's also saying how to get him. towards the end. Although he reveals his greatness, he says, I am conquered by my devotee. And he'll speak a lot about it in the subsequent shlokas. So tomorrow, the next session that you are here, please make sure that you read from shloka 10 onwards to 19. Okay? That is 9.11 to 9.19. Come prepared. You have one whole week to do that. Right? Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Hare Krishna.